Hello, hello, hashtag HealthWealthLife day 232, bite-sized insights for more mental and physical strength. So, if we think about this as a little mental clarity, which when we get this, then we can make better decisions, better actions, better communication. It basically strengthens the mind, which then carries on to the body and our results and our happiness throughout our life, right? So I find these really important. I think focusing on being a mental and a physical strength coach is essential, because if have you ever had a kinesiology session? Sarah, how are you? Hannah D, how are you? Good to see you. Have you ever had a kinesiology session? Well, you know that, Eddie, how are you, mate? You know that your thoughts and substances, something you drink, something you eat, supplements, or even perfume or aftershave can have an impact on your energy system. So absolutely, your mental strength has an impact on your physical strength. So if we can do things that increase our mental strength, then we have a knock-on effect to be stronger in the gym. If we're stronger in the gym, we can perform more, we get a better looking body, and then we can tag that with eating well or not, if you like, if you really want to get the results. Anyway, that's the pattern. So Mahatma Gandhi said that the future depends on what you do in the present. The future depends on what you do in the present. And that is where you get to make a choice. In that moment, you might think this is going to taste great, but I'm going to avoid it because I know how I want to look in a week's time or 2 weeks' time. Because this is another thing. If you have a bit of a blowout, if you go for it and have, whatever your vice is, chocolate biscuits, ice cream, whatever it is, usually you can put on, I've seen it, you can put on 1 to 1.5% body fat within a 7-day period. And that was just for, say, a weekend off. So you have Saturday and Sunday, you go mental, eat 25 slices of bread and and loads of ice cream and anything else that you might do. You can easily put on 1% to 1.5% body fat. Now, here's the kicker. It will take you a week, 2 weeks, around that time to get that off. And that's being 100% strict. So is it worth it? The taste, you might say, yeah, but it doesn't last long enough for me. So, and I prefer feeling good every day. I prefer looking at myself and thinking, okay, I'm happy with the way I look. And a lot of people use that as a vicious cycle to look at themselves and think, I don't look good, I don't feel good, and therefore I'm going to eat more of the same or do more of the same. Or maybe it's smoking, maybe it's drinking as well. A little bit mixed in there. So anyway, Mahatma Gandhi got it right. He said what we do in the present will determine the future. Now, Tony Robbins also said that the moment we realize that we reach a plateau is the beginning of a new level, is the moment that we determine if we'll have an extraordinary life or not. Can I not just lick it but not actually swallow it? Interesting question, Jenny. I assume you're talking about an apple or a prune or something like that. Listen, some people can get away with eating lots of carbohydrates, as an example, because I know we're talking about sugary or sweeter things anyway, right? Some people get away with it, but some people, all they can take in is one lick of a dry prune a month. That's all they can handle, and they start to put on fat. Personally, I'm not that carb tolerant. If I have carbs, particularly if I have too many carbs, I tend to put on more body fat, and I don't feel as good. My energy levels go up and down. I get more of a yo-yo. So I'm much better on high quality fats, which I always talk about, the 6 main fats, and a good amount of decent protein. And it really does depend on the source of everything. You know, if someone offered you, actually, Jenny, that's a good question. Ice cream is one of the best ones, because there's something called glycemic load. If you look that up, glycemic load, and that's how, on top of glycemic index, which is how quickly the energy is released into your system, glycemic loads determines the density of that hit, that sugary hit, or that energy hit, if you like. So if you choose foods that can be slightly higher in glycemic index but a low glycemic load, for instance, ice cream, that's a much better option, because it's not going to impact you for a long period of time throughout the day, and your body can return to balanced blood sugar level and secretion of insulin. Now, insulin is what we want to manage, and that's why carbohydrates is always part of a body composition diet. You must manage your sugar intake. Look at the content of everything you're eating. And sugar, if it's real food, it's much easier to manage. If you're eating processed foods and the list is, if it's got more than 4 ingredients, maybe you shouldn't be eating it. If you've got some of the ingredients, you can't pronounce them, you never heard of them, you cannot pronounce them, oh, what? Then you should definitely avoid them. The quality of the chocolate matters. Ginny, you should eat dark chocolate. That has a lot of good properties for you. And for dark chocolate, it's recommended 75% cocoa and higher. And the higher, the better, actually. So dark chocolate, and also in moderation. You couldn't eat an endless amount of that and expect to feel great and be lean as well. but everything in moderation. But ice cream is actually a good choice, but that doesn't mean a free-for-all. You know, have it after a main meal where you've had a good amount of protein, which will slow the process of those sugars through your system, and have it at the end, and not too much. You know, watch your portion control. If you want to lose body fat, if not, then it doesn't really matter, right? You just go for it and have fun. The main thing is you're happy and you're enjoying it. So, but if you get through and you feel bloated and you feel fat a few days after, then it was a bad decision. So what you do in the present, what you choose to do in the present, will determine your future. Mahatma Gandhi had some amazing quotes, and that's one fantastic one as well. And what I wanted to tag on to that was the Tony Robbins quote where he talks about plateaus, because we'll all reach a plateau. It's inevitable. When you reach that new plateau, you know that it's the beginning of a new level. That's the start of a new level of productivity, progress, if you like. And the next level up, like a computer game, you've reached the next level and you kind of feel like you're back at the beginning, but actually you're in a whole new level and you're in a whole new space, and there's even more wonders and enjoyment to be had and felt there. Anyway, soft ice cream instead of a heavy one is the one I prefer. Yep, have a look at those, Hannah D, you know the options on those. The soft ice cream might be a slightly lower glycemic load, which we've talked about. You can have a Google of that, have a little read. It's worth knowing. Than the more denser ice creams, but ice cream in general not so bad as a cheat, and you should have it as a cheat meal. I talked about this with a video I did a few days ago. Have a look back through that. When should you have a cheat meal? It's about every 4 to 6 days when you're lean. If you're fat, if you're carrying too much fat than you really know you should be or you want to be, you shouldn't be having a cheat meal. You know, go that extra mile until you get to that point, whatever you decide that is that lean point, and then every 4 to 6 days, if you're training well, if you're eating well the rest of the time, you can have a cheat meal, and that's one meal. So you'd have that in the sitting when you have the meal. Doesn't mean scoffing all day long, which we can all do easily, right? Because there's an element of taste fun to it, but as I say, it's not for me, it's not the best choice overall, because I've got to live myself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if I take an hour, 2 hours to go mental, and then I'll regret it for the rest of the time. Whereas I can make a wise choice using glycemic index, using glycemic load. For desserts, I would always have berries, blueberries, raspberries, and cream. Fat is not the problem. Fat is not the problem. If you want to break the fat loss plateau, start eating more fats. That's back to front. Have a look at my video yesterday. I talked about that a little bit. If you actually wanted to if your life depended on a 7-week body transformation, what would you start doing now? I gave the 2 answers from that yesterday. Anyway, I could go on for a while, but we'll end it there. So I want you to think about the choices you're making now, because they will determine your future. Mahatma Gandhi gave us that. And knowing that when you reach a plateau, that you're going to clotted cream. That's all right. That's all right for you. Trust me. The fat's not the problem. Carbs and sugars are the problem. Manage your carb and sugar. So the reason why is fats and protein won't create much of an insulin response. Insulin is the hormone of fat storage and aging. When you manage your insulin, you manage your fat storage, and also you age slower, so you don't get old as quick. Change my fat protein intake. Yeah, so Hannah, you got it right. So you changed your fat protein intake. You might, if you eat a lot of protein, you could probably get away with eating a moderate amount of protein. Yeah, you'd be better off, Ginny. The clotted cream's better than the chocolate and possibly the ice cream as well. But there's levels of choices, right? So there's a really amazing, perfect choice, and then there's not such a good choice, not such a good choice, bad choice, or something like that. So try and choose the best as you can, whatever situation you're in. All right, let's end it there. So have a think about today. It's we went into a bit of a nutritional tip, but it was a mental strength tip today, which we know knocks onto the physical and the emotional over time. So what you do today, what you choose today, is what will create your future. Choose wisely. Remember, happy is a skill that you can learn, and making positive choices in the moment will lead to a better life and is a better way to bring out your personal best. It really is. Make great choices today. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's get some health wealth and take the world with us. Press that share button. Do it now. All of you, press it now. See you soon.